Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network and iHeartRadio. Welcome to Hunting for Answers, a true crime podcast. I'm your host, Hunter. A 15-year-old mother spends the weekend with family. Her child stays behind. She is expected to come back to her child. But when the weekend ends, she does not return. At first, there is a delay in urgency, but the calls do not come, and the last place she is known to be becomes the center of everything. This is the story of Keiosha Marie Felix. Keiosha Marie Felix was 15 years old. At the time of her disappearance, she was living under state care at a facility for teens who were pregnant or parenting. It was called Maison de Mere, a place designed for support. She was a mother to a young child, and despite the complexity of her situation, she had a place she was expected to be. At the end of April 2012, Keiosha was given permission to spend the weekend with family. She went to her aunt's home in Duson, Louisiana. She arrived. For a time, nothing stood out. But by April 30th, 2012, something was different. That was the last day Keiosha Felix was known to be seen. In the hours after her disappearance, an explanation began to circulate that Keiosha had left on her own, that she may have walked away, and that she would reach out. At one point, a cousin claimed that Keiosha had reached out after disappearing, but investigators were not able to verify any contact. No confirmed calls, no messages, and no activity that supported that claim. As days passed, what did not happen started to stand out. Keiosha never returned to her child, and days turned into weeks. She did not make contact. Her phone went quiet. Her social media stopped. This kind of silence did not match her pattern. For her loved ones, it did not reflect who they knew her to be. As investigators looked more closely at the last place she was known to be, the focus returned to the home in Duson. Keiosha had told her aunt she may have been sexually assaulted. The person she identified was her aunt's boyfriend. There is no indication that this allegation was reported to authorities at the time, and what had been considered a possible runaway case began to shift. For the first time, the possibility that her disappearance may have involved someone she knew was now part of the case. In July 2012, just months after she disappeared, arrests were made. Leon Wilkerson Jr., her aunt's boyfriend, was charged with second-degree kidnapping and rape. Her aunt, Patricia Andrus, faced charges of improper supervision and as an accessory. A cousin was also charged with obstruction of justice, accused of providing false information about contact with Keiosha. For a time, it looked like the case was breaking open. But the case did not unravel all at once. As more came to light, the lead investigator, Lieutenant Gerald Cruder, came under scrutiny. He was accused of misconduct in multiple cases, including improper arrests, unlawful searches, and providing false testimony. He was suspended and later terminated. As prosecutors reviewed the case, the investigation began to shift, and eventually, all charges in Keiosha's case were dropped. The case relied heavily on statements and evidence that could not be used in court. No one has been convicted in connection to her disappearance, and still, Keiosha Felix was missing. Investigators continued to follow leads, including a man seen on surveillance, purchasing a SIM card linked to her phone. He was not named as a suspect, but was identified as someone who may have information. Possible sightings of Keiosha were reported in areas including Lafayette, Baton Rouge, and Houston. None were confirmed. More than a decade later, there are still questions. What happened between the time she arrived for that weekend and the time she was gone? Who was the last person to see her? Why did the early explanations point away from danger? And how does a case with arrests and serious allegations end without answers? Keiosha Felix was 15 years old. She was expected to return from a weekend visit with family. She never did. What happened to Keiosha Felix remains unknown. Our thoughts are with Keiosha Felix's family and loved ones. As we close this episode, remember that sharing her story helps keep attention on her case. Anyone with information is urged to contact the Lafayette Parish Sheriff's Office or the FBI. Contact details are listed in the show notes. For more cases and updates, follow Hunting for Answers. You can also connect with us through Facebook and find us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. If there's a story you believe deserves attention, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you for joining us for another episode. Until next time. Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network. For more podcasts from the Black Effect Podcast Network, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.